The key message that I was given was that sort of coaching is very much a method of communicating with players and engaging with players and pushing players to produce their best performance. In other words, that you're all the time challenging them, and challenging them means that you have to have a clear vision yourself, or a clear set of values or principles in which to operate, and that they have to understand. And your sort of coaching for me is working with the players to get the best out of themselves at a both individual and a collective level, and that's the key to the key message I was given today. So the key characteristics of a coach in terms of, I suppose the key element is that they've got to understand themselves first, and sort of the values they have about what they want to transmit to the players. They've got to have a great understanding of technique, in my view, of what they want, the technical aspects of the game. Because if you don't understand the technical aspects of the game, you're going to find it hard to, no matter how good you are at communicating, you're going to find it hard to get your message across. So I think it's there. Then if you have that technical knowledge, so that you're building on that then, and you're communicating with the player to allow them to take on board these messages, and ultimately they have to own the game, or own their own or part of the game, if you like. So you're trying to give them the tools, if you like, or the framework which they can produce their best performance. They must own it. The coach is an educator, in a sense, a communicator, provides background, but ultimately the player must own their own performance. And to do that, I think the environment has got to be really challenging. It's got to be open. It's got to be two-way. It's got to be flexible, and I think that's the key. And I think in that education, it's about preparing people for winning, preparing people for sometimes when performances don't go as planned. It's preparing the player to be resilient and to take a long view of the game. In other words, it's all about getting better, and that challenge is for them to get better every game, getting better on top of their strengths rather than their weaknesses, to look at what they can do sometimes as much as what they can't do. Once you give them a set of philosophies that this is what we want to do, that's the first thing. They've got to be clear that you don't drop that philosophy at the merest bump in the road. There'll be lots of bumps, you're going to lose games, it's not going to work. So if you're clear that you still believe in what you believe in, even with those bumps, that's the second thing. And so the third thing then is, within that, you've got to create these environments at training where people can fail, people can mess up, people can make mistakes. You can make a mistake as a coach. The most important thing to remember is the players will forgive anything, in terms of if they think you're trying to improve them as players. And those mistakes will happen. You will make mistakes as a coach as much as they will mistakes as a player. So don't be afraid to make mistakes when you're trying to get a philosophy across as to where you want to play. And the final thing I would say is, you need to support those players, when things don't go right, because that's when trust is built. That's when confidence is built. And when they have confidence and trust, it's really easy to play.